Welcome, the rare gems. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone isn't dangerous in the way most people think. She's not out to control others, make scenes, or seek validation. She's on her own path, and that's precisely what makes her so powerful. She's a person who isn't afraid to walk alone, to dig deep into herself, and to understand what she truly wants, not what the world expects from her. In a society that rewards groupthink and following trends, her ability to be alone with her thoughts sets her apart. Spending time alone has taught her things that most people avoid facing: her fears, her strengths, her values, and what truly matters to her. This isn't just independence, it's self-mastery. She's not interested in superficial approval or shallow connections, and that alone is disruptive because it breaks the norm. Sigma females like her embody a unique kind of wisdom and quiet courage. She's never swayed by what everyone else is doing. If she chooses to step away from the noise and focus on her own growth, it's because she's learned to value her peace and purpose over pleasing others. And in doing so, she becomes a rare presence in a world full of people who are afraid to stand on their own. She reminds us that there's a fierce strength in solitude, and she's not afraid to live it fully. Let's get started. The rare gems. To gain a deeper understanding, I encourage you to watch the full video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 1. Learns to see fear as a puzzle, not a barrier. When a Sigma female spends a lot of time alone, she starts seeing fear in a way most people don't. It's no longer this big, dark barrier. It's more like a puzzle she can break down and understand. While others are busy dodging their fears, she's got them on the table, examining each piece like she's working on a tricky jigsaw. This approach doesn't make her reckless. It just means she understands what she's afraid of and why, which is way more powerful than pretending fear doesn't exist. To the outside world, this makes her seem almost fearless, which can be unsettling for those around her. She isn't afraid to take risks or face challenges that make others backpedal, because she's already figured out what's real and what's just her mind playing tricks. People can sense this, her calmness in situations that would rattle anyone else. And here's where the dangerous part comes in. Her quiet confidence highlights everyone else's insecurities. While they're wondering if they're brave enough, she's already decided it's just another puzzle to work through. And that silent contrast, it's powerful. She's not flaunting her strength, it's just obvious. Others realize that while they're busy wrestling with hesitation, she's already 2 steps ahead, unbothered and unbreakable. In a world full of people who freeze at the first sign of fear, her approach is like a superpower, one she wields without even trying. Number 2. Builds inner worlds beyond others' reach. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone is dangerous in the best way possible. She's building an inner world that others simply can't access. While many people spend time and energy trying to fit in, she's busy creating her own universe, full of thoughts, ideas, and insights that only she truly understands. This isn't a hobby, it's a practice. Alone time becomes her laboratory, her sanctuary, and her playground, all rolled into one. When she does step out into social circles, people can sense there's something different about her, a depth that's not easily explained. They might catch glimpses of this inner world in the way she talks, or the subtle expressions that flicker across her face. But try as they might, they can't quite get her, and it drives them a little nuts. Her layers are like a puzzle that's missing pieces, and for some reason, people feel a strange need to solve it, even though they know they probably never will. This mystery is part of what makes her so compelling and, yes, a little dangerous. She's unbothered by others' curiosity because she's found fulfillment in her own thoughts and ambitions. She doesn't need anyone to validate her. She's already got a whole world in her head that does that. And in a world where most people are open books, her closed pages make her a rare and powerful presence, one that can't be fully understood, let alone controlled. Number 3. She doesn't need reassurance to make bold decisions. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone doesn't need a committee to make bold decisions, and that's exactly what makes her so dangerous. Most people, before making a big move, need a whole cheering squad of friends, family, and maybe even the neighbor's opinion just to feel sure about it. But not her. She's spent so much time alone that she's built a rock-solid inner compass, one that doesn't waver based on what others think. This means she can act fast and with confidence, skipping the endless debates and group texts. Her decisiveness isn't just efficient, it's unpredictable, and that throws people off. While everyone else is still hemming and hawing over, what will people think, she's already taken action and moved on. There's no second guessing, no last-minute doubts. When she decides to do something, she's all in, fully committed and completely unfazed by outside opinions. Her ability to make bold moves without reassurance makes her a bit of a wild card. You can't predict her because there's no one influencing her in the background. She's free to follow her instincts, whether it's in her career, her personal life, or a new goal she's set. This independence isn't loud or showy, but it's powerful. She's her own counsel, and that's a rare thing. In a world where everyone's looking for approval, her self-sufficiency stands out, making her someone you can't quite figure out or control. Number 4. Able to blur the line between presence and absence. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone has learned how to blur the line between being present and absent, a skill that's subtle but powerful. She can be sitting right there, nodding along, yet it's like part of her is somewhere else entirely. It's not that she's rude, she's just perfected the art of being selectively engaged. When she's with others, she can tune in just enough to keep up with the conversation, but there's a quiet sense that her mind is off exploring something far deeper. This here but not here quality throws people off. They'll be talking to her, thinking they've got her full attention, only to realize they're not quite sure if she's really listening. It's like interacting with a ghost. One moment she's fully present and the next, she's drifted into her own world, leaving people to wonder if they imagined it. It's fascinating and a bit unsettling. Her ability to mentally detach at will makes her hard to pin down because people never fully know where they stand with her. In a world where everyone's fighting for attention, her controlled distance makes her an enigma. People are left wondering what's going on beneath the surface, yet they can't quite reach her. This mix of presence and absence creates a mystery that keeps others intrigued, curious, and maybe a little unnerved. She's right there, yet somehow miles away, leaving people curious and often a bit thrown by her elusive energy. Number 5. Explores mental extremes, building psychological fortitude. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone develops a kind of mental toughness that's hard to come by, because she's not afraid to explore the edges of her own mind. Left to her own devices, she'll dive into thoughts and ideas that most people would rather avoid. While others might shy away from their own uncomfortable questions or hidden fears, she treats them like an invitation, taking a good, hard look at everything rattling around in her head. She knows her mind isn't all sunshine and positivity, and she's fine with that. This deep mental exploration has built a resilience in her that others can't quite figure out. It's not just that she's calm under pressure, it's that nothing really shocks her. She's already been through the mental ringer with herself, so when someone tries to throw her off balance or push her buttons, she's unfazed. People sense this unbreakable calmness, and it's more than a little intimidating. What's even more unsettling is that she's not afraid of her own darker thoughts, which gives her a rare kind of psychological strength. She's looked into her own depths, dealt with her own shadows, and come out the other side stronger. So, while others might struggle with their own inner demons, she's already made peace with hers, making her a bit of a mystery. People wonder what she knows, what she's capable of, but she keeps it all close, leaving them guessing, and maybe even a little spooked. We appreciate you, Rare Gems, for being a treasured subscriber. Your consistent support is vital to us and fuels our passion for delivering meaningful content. Thank you for your engagement and encouragement. Number 6. Accumulates knowledge as a form of quiet power. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone has this quiet way of accumulating knowledge that can make her downright intimidating. While others are busy scrolling social media or making small talk, she's devouring books, picking up new skills, and diving into philosophies most people have never even heard of. She's like a sponge for information, but here's the catch. She's not doing it to brag or to one-up anyone. She's building her own personal arsenal of knowledge simply because she finds power in understanding the world on a deeper level. When she does engage with others, her depth of knowledge can catch them off guard. She's not loud or flashy about it, but there's something about the way she speaks, calmly, with layers of understanding, that can make others feel a bit out of their depth. It's like she has this invisible intellectual authority that subtly shifts the dynamic in her favor. People might come into a conversation expecting the usual banter, only to realize they're talking to someone who's thought way beyond surface-level ideas. Her quiet power makes her difficult to challenge. She doesn't need to flaunt her intelligence or dominate the conversation. It's already clear she knows more than she's letting on. This leaves others feeling intellectually outpaced, almost like they're playing checkers while she's playing chess. Her knowledge isn't just for show, it's her silent strength, an advantage she wields with a calm confidence that's both intriguing and, let's face it, a little intimidating. Number 7. She's able to see life's patterns beyond the personal. A Sigma female who spends plenty of time alone develops a unique superpower. She sees patterns in life that others completely miss. While most people are caught up in the everyday noise, who said what, which text was left unread, she's observing life on a much larger scale. She's got the distance to step back and connect dots that others don't even see. To her, relationships, society, even trends all have a kind of rhythm, a set of rules and cycles that repeat. It's like she's watching life unfold from the balcony while everyone else is caught up on the stage, unaware of the bigger picture. This gives her a kind of wisdom that goes beyond the usual advice or insights. When she speaks, people sense that her observations aren't just about them, they're about everyone, almost as if she's managed to see the playbook on human behavior. This ability makes her fascinating, but also a bit unsettling. People don't know quite what to make of someone who seems to understand their motivations before they do, or who can see the arc of a situation long before it plays out. The best part? She doesn't parade this around. She lets people come to their own conclusions, even if she already sees where things are headed. This depth, this ability to spot patterns, gives her an edge that's hard to define but impossible to ignore. It's like she's one step ahead, seeing life from an altitude that most people don't even know exists. Number 8. Her creativity exists outside the norms. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone doesn't just think outside the box. She's so far beyond the box, she's invented a whole new game. While most people follow the same old routine of doing things the way they've always been done, she's over here, quietly creating in ways that don't even make sense to the average person. She's not interested in the accepted way of doing things because she's realized the rules are just someone else's limitations. She'd rather break them, toss them aside, and figure out her own rules. This ability to think freely is a kind of creative superpower. Her ideas don't need validation from the world. They're already great in her eyes. The best part? They don't fit into any of the usual boxes. So when she finally shares her work, people are left scratching their heads trying to process something so fresh and so far out of the norm that they're not even sure how to label it. This is where her creativity becomes a force that can't easily be opposed. It's too original, too innovative to be dismissed with a "that's weird" or a quick critique. It's like trying to argue with someone about something that hasn't even been invented yet. Good luck with that. Her creativity isn't loud or in your face. It's more like an undercurrent, quietly powerful, bubbling beneath the surface until it eventually shifts everything around it. And when that happens, people can't help but notice. Number 9. Builds routines that are invisible, yet impeccably structured. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone has mastered the art of flying under the radar while quietly making strides. Her routines aren't the kind you can spot from across the room with big, flashy to-do lists or social media updates about what she's up to. No, her routines are slick, invisible, and efficient, like a ninja's stealth mode. She knows exactly what needs to be done, and the best part? She doesn't need anyone else to keep her in check. No external deadlines or reminders. She's her own taskmaster, operating at a pace that's steady, determined, and incredibly effective. What makes her dangerous is that people often fail to notice these little victories. While everyone else is scrambling for the next quick win or external validation, she's quietly laying the foundation for something much bigger. Her progress doesn't show up immediately, no flashy results or instant gratification, but when it does, it hits hard. By the time others realize what she's been working on, it's already fully formed and she's way ahead of the game. This hidden discipline makes her a silent force. She doesn't need to announce her plans or talk about how hard she's working. Her progress speaks for itself when it's already too late to catch up. People underestimate her because they can't see the routine behind the success until it's already bearing fruit. And by then, they're left trying to figure out how she did it while they were still busy with distractions. Number 10. She's always strategizing. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone is always strategizing, and that's what makes her so dangerous, in the smartest way possible. She's not the type to jump headfirst into a situation just to see how it goes. Nope. When she's alone, she's calculating every possible move, every potential outcome, like she's running a mental chess game. While others are acting on impulse or winging it, she's already several steps ahead, quietly laying out a plan that no one else sees coming. Solitude is her think tank. She uses it to sharpen her instincts, map out scenarios, and anticipate obstacles. So when she does decide to make a move, she's got this laser-focused precision that can throw everyone off balance. It's not about being sneaky or manipulative. It's about making sure that when she steps in, she does so with purpose and clarity. People around her might be blindsided, wondering how she always seems to know the perfect thing to say or the exact time to act. But it's no mystery to her. She's been preparing for it. Her strategy isn't flashy, it's quietly lethal. She's not trying to control anyone or force an outcome, but when she steps in with her plan, it has a way of making others realize just how unprepared they are. In a world full of people who react first and think later, her strategy is like a superpower, a subtle but undeniable advantage that leaves a lasting impact. Number 11. She's an outsider by choice, which is disruptive in itself. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone isn't just doing it because she needs space. She's actively choosing to opt out of the whole normal thing. While the world is busy keeping up with trends, blending in with social expectations, and following a well-worn path, she's over there carving out her own lane. The crazy part? She's not even trying to be rebellious or controversial. She's just living her life, making decisions that work for her, and silently giving the middle finger to the pressure to conform. Here's where it gets interesting. Just by being herself, she disrupts everyone around her. People might not admit it, but deep down, they're uncomfortable with her refusal to follow the crowd. It forces them to confront their own reliance on societal norms. If she can exist outside the box, what does that say about the box? She doesn't need to preach about individuality. Her very existence is a statement that not everyone needs to fit in, and that can feel threatening to those who are still clinging to the idea that fitting in equals safety. Her presence becomes this quiet rebellion, like a reminder that there's an alternative to the cookie-cutter life everyone else seems to be living. It's not about trying to stir the pot. It's about showing that there's more than one way to live, and that's a whole new level of disruption. So while others are still trying to figure out their next move in the rat race, she's already miles ahead, making it look effortless. Number 12. She has no problem exposing inconsistencies in others. A Sigma female who spends a lot of time alone has sharpened a rare and slightly dangerous skill. She can spot inconsistencies in others with laser-like precision. Alone time has given her space to think deeply, analyze behavior, and develop a kind of sixth sense for spotting when things don't quite add up. She's not doing it to be critical or to put people on the spot, but she simply has a knack for picking up on those little contradictions that most people gloss over, even in themselves. Here's where it gets interesting. In conversation, she can casually point out these inconsistencies without needing to be blunt or confrontational. She might say something like, "That's interesting, since you mentioned last week you were all about." Suddenly, people are caught off guard, realizing they've been gently exposed. They'll find themselves wondering, wait, did I really say that? Or is that really what I believe? It's a strange, eye-opening experience for them. And it doesn't take much from her to make it happen. This skill isn't about tearing people down. It's about revealing truths they might be hiding from themselves. But of course, it also makes her a bit of a wild card. People don't know whether to admire her insight or to be nervous around her, because they know she's probably noticing more than they'd like to admit. In a world where most people try to blend in, Her ability to quietly highlight these hidden truths makes her both powerful and just a little bit intimidating. In the end, a Sigma female who spends most of her time alone is like a quietly brewing storm. She's not loud, she's not desperate for attention, but she's always moving forward, building herself in ways that others can't even fathom. Her solitude isn't about isolation, it's about empowerment. It's where she finds the space to refine her mind, strengthen her resilience, and create the life she wants, all while operating under the radar. What makes her dangerous is the depth she's constantly developing, the plans she's always formulating, and the knowledge she's steadily accumulating. She doesn't need validation from others, and she doesn't seek permission. She just does. And because she's so self-sufficient, others often miss the signs until it's too late. They don't see her preparing, strategizing, and evolving until one day she moves with such precision that they can't help but feel the impact. If you identify with this, it's important to remember, your solitude isn't a weakness, it's your superpower. Embrace it, lean into it, and recognize that being alone doesn't mean you're missing out. It means you're in the perfect place to build something extraordinary, on your own terms. So, continue to let the world think they've got you figured out. Keep working in the shadows, because when you finally emerge, you won't just be ready, you'll be unstoppable. Thank you, rare gems, for tuning in. Stay safe and stay vigilant as always. God bless.